so glad to introduce our next speaker. Here we go. Adil Dalal is the Chair of Human Development and Leadership Division of ASQ and CEO of Pinnacle Process Solutions International. All right, Adil is here today to inspire you to live a legacy and leave a legacy, and to share his passion and vision for a better existence for all of us in this beautiful green planet through a Million Legacies project. Let's give a hand for Adil Dalal.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for the warm welcome.
So have you all ever wondered why people are on the crossroads confused? Yogi Berra had a great saying. How many of you know Yogi Berra, Yogisms? Said if you don't know where you're going, be careful, you may never get there. Okay? And then he said about the crossroads. What did he say if you come to a fork on the road? Take it. So the problem is a lot of people are going through life a little confused, correct? A little down on life. How many of you have seen people down on life? And some people literally set themselves on fire, right? They hurt themselves. But also, really sad is people hurting others. Today, in the name of, terrorism and misdirection, you've seen what is happening in this world today. Isn't that sad? So today, what I say is every life without a positive direction is a problem to the society. Would you agree? Case in point is this. This is headlines from yesterday. Chris Lane, 22-year-old kid from Australia, player. He was killed by two teenagers just because they were bored. Just because they were bored. My God. Isn't that a sad commentary on our society today? Would you agree? That is not who we are. Would you agree? And that is really what we are talking about today, is the direction in life. But have you ever wondered who is giving us the direction? Who are the leaders who are giving us that direction? Who are the leaders, guys? Is it the celebrities, the late night comics? Who is giving us the direction? Have you seen a positive people, the youth, having a positive direction? There is, but it's not to the extent we want it to be. Would you agree? Have you ever wondered that this is where we are headed? We have one home, we have one planet. If your fridge goes down, you can go get another one. If our home burns down, which is our planet, there is nowhere to go unless you're waiting for the Mars project to start. Correct? So guys, we better take care of this. And in this room, we have some really wonderful people who really can make a difference. Would you agree? So we will never let this happen. How many of you say, we will never let this happen? Give me a show of hands. And that is very important, that we can never let this be our destiny. So what we need to do is take the steps of how we can avoid something like this. So this is the Think and Grow Rich seminar. Dr. Napoleon Hill, he talked about the 95%. He said 95% of the population go through life without a direction. Only 5% of the people have a direction or a definite chief aim in life. Okay guys, 7 billion people, 95% of that is a big number. Big number. So what we need to do is to understand is that what is the impact? So let me ask you, just because you have a definite purpose does not get you to where you want to be. There was this guy I knew, he said, I want a job, I want a big vehicle, and I want lots of girls in the vehicle. Okay. Today he's driving a bus, school bus, to all-girls school. Okay? So having a definite chief aim is not enough. So there is one more statistic missing out here, which is out of the 5% who have a definite chief aim, only 1% truly hit that. Only 1%. Now you understand why we have the chaos we are going through. So our statistics are not that great. Let me give you an anecdote. There was this attorney, a young attorney in South Africa, was traveling by train. He was in the first class, and the coach conductor came and asked him to leave. He said, there's a European gentleman, he needs to take the seat, you have to leave. He was, a colored gentleman. And he refused to go, and he was beaten up. He was beaten up. And this gentleman really thought through, he changed his own life, he transformed his thinking, and with his mission, he's changed the history of a nation. Do you know who this man was? Absolutely. Mahatma Gandhi, or Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. With his message of ahimsa or non-violence, he changed this world. And he was the change. He started that change with himself. Said, be the change you want to see in the world. And that is the most important thing. Everyone wants to change the world without changing themselves. And just reverse that a little and say, how can I change myself so I can be equipped to change this world? And that is the most important message. How did Gandhi do what he did? Was because he found his true north. What he found was something called the true north. This painful episode, he did not become a victim. He did not blame anyone. He became the true north. Would you agree? He had his true north, and then he became the true north for a nation. Can you imagine the power of that? So he was not the only gentleman who's changed now these are all the one percenters. You can see the one percenters. Leonardo da Vinci, he has, with his Mona Lisa and other works, he has changed the way our generation thinks. Abraham Lincoln changed the country, right? He changed the history of U.S. by the abolishing slavery. And then Rosa Parks, she made everyone equal, because of her civil rights movement. She, Martin Luther King, others are in the 1%. And then Mother Teresa showed us that everyone cannot do great things, but we can do small things with great love. When she served the community of the poorest in Calcutta. So you can see that these 1% have been carrying a lot of burden. Okay? And the message is very similar to what we have been told. If it is to be, it is up to me. They did not wait for others to act. They took action themselves. Now, this is an important point, is all of us, you were on stage. If you had timed yourself, you had a definite time when you came on stage and a definite time you left. Would you agree? That is defined same way when you enter earth, your first breath to your last breath is measured on your tombstone with a dash. Would you agree? That will be defined in your life. But these characters out here, when we talk about Gandhi and Abraham Lincoln and others, why do we talk about them as if they are present here? Why do we talk in the presence? Because it's still with us. What they did was they actually created an immortal spirit. Their philosophy, their vision, their ideas are still living with us. So today, they are still alive in our mind and our hearts. That is the key thing. So what they did was they changed the dash into an infinity. They will never die. Physically, yes, they are gone, but their ideas, their ideals, the passion will always live on. That is so powerful, would you agree? And that is why they are considered in the 1%. So true north, all of these had that true north. They did not come to the stage by not facing challenges. In fact, they came to the stage because of facing challenges. And what they did was they allowed them true north or their legacy to define their life. Would you agree? These guys did not create the legacy by accident. They actually defined their own life. So the message is, in order to leave a legacy, you have to live one right now. You cannot decide if you have to leave $1 million to someone. How will you leave it if you don't have that? Would you agree? So the message is, you have to first earn it to leave it. So if you want to be remembered, if you want to change your dash into an infinity, what you need to start doing is start looking at your legacy. You need to start changing the dash into an infinity. So one of the things I'm working on right now is actually a Million Legacies project. Napoleon Hill, when did he write the book about the 95% and 5% was a long time ago, and we still, I don't think, have changed the ratio. So my goal, my mission, my life mission is to start changing that number. We need more people who have a positive direction in life. Would you all agree? We need that in our youth, in our adults, people who can say, this is where I'm going, this is my goal. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand away free book. This is my new book, Legacy Driven Life, which has a very step-by-step formula of how to create a legacy, how to design a gold standard legacy, because you cannot just make it an accident. It is not an accident. It has to be designed in. Just like you're designing your planning for wealth, correct? Your legacy has to be designed. And so far, nobody talks about how to do it. And that's what I'm attempting to do with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hand out free books to the military. So half of them will go to the military and half of them will go to the non-military staff. And I'm also working with a group on PTSD who are really suffering. Today in our country there are 22 suicides per day, of the veterans. And we cannot consciously accept that. So we need to start changing the tide. And that's what we need to do. So we're planning to, and if any corporations, anyone wants to join in this program, I would love that support. So, thank you. So I've been given very limited time on the stage, so I cannot go through all my steps of how to create a legacy. So what I'm going to do is give you plan B, okay? 3 simple things which you can remember, which will help you start thinking about your legacy. Okay, is that fair? Okay. So there is a place called Shangri-La, that is the University of the 1%. Anyone who really made a difference or want to make a difference in life and impact the world, they went to this university. But there were 3 toll gates to get into this university. You could not just walk in. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 3 gates. How would those gates open up? So the first gate, when you try to enter the Shangri-La University, the first question would be asked is, who are you? So who are you? A lot of people would answer this question saying, oh, I'm this famous guy, I'm this rich dude or a famous guy, or I own this company. That's not what this question is about. Who are you? The meaning is much, much deeper. Basically, what you have to understand on this planet, we have 8.7 million creatures, insects, fishes, name it, and we have 8.7 million creatures. Okay. Have you ever asked yourself, why was I born a human being? If you've not, then you should ask that question. It's a very important question to ask. Out of the 8.7 million creatures, why are you a human being? And the answer to that is that we are all, as human beings, we are forged for success. We are genetically engineered for success. You have something which is very different than the other creatures. Our brain is one of the most powerful things in this planet. It is literally a supercomputer. Trillions of connections. It literally grows. Literally there are 3 brains in our head. Okay. The first one is a reptilian brain, which other animals have. The second one is basically a paleo-mammalian brain. And the third one is a neo-mammalian brain. That is the frontal cortex, the judgment, and the decision-making and the logic. Only human beings have that third brain. That is why you are a human being. So the key thing you have to understand is, if you have that supercomputer, what did God intend you to do? Or whoever the supreme being who gave it to you, what did they intend you to do? Waste it? You have to use it. So your job is to use that to make your imprint, to leave your imprint on this planet. When you come on stage of Earth, you will have a limited time. Correct? How can we leave this planet in a different way than we found it? That is the key thing you have to remember. So, once you say, I know who I am, to the first question, the magic door opens up and you can pass through the first door. You come up to the second door, and the question is, where are you going? You cannot say, I'm going to the restroom or to a party. That's not fair. They won't let you through. So it's a deeper question, right? So when they ask you, where are you going? They're talking about your legacy. They're saying, what are you planning to do with your life? Where are you going with your life? And that is what you have to think about. So obviously we don't have the time to go through how to create this, okay? But you have to understand that you cannot allow anyone else to live your legacy. You cannot be the slacker in the game, because just like every canvas is fresh and it's painted, you're not mass produced, you are very unique. Would you agree? Have you ever heard about the Chinese pots, the 2 Chinese pots story? One of the pots was cracked, and the person, the Chinese guy, was taking this from the river to the palace. One day as he was filling the pot kind of spoke to him and said, hey, I'm so sorry you have to work so much harder. I only take 50% of my weight when you take me to the master's palace. He says, no, you're perfect. Do you see the flowers which bloom along your path? Have you seen all the flowers which I put in the master's palace? Those are only possible because I knew of your fault and I planted seeds along that path. And now we can enjoy those flowers because of your perfectness. So no matter where you are in your life, you are the only person who can live your legacy. Nobody else can live your legacy. You get it? That is very important point to understand, is you are the only one who can live that legacy. So one key thing you have to understand, the one key ingredient of legacy is what I'm going to give you with this formula. You will need to lead. Lead stands for leave everything appreciated on departure. So leave everything appreciated on departure is a very important thing for you to understand, because you have to leave this planet better than you found it. That is your legacy. How you do it, that's up to you. This is a key ingredient of how to do it. So when you say, I know my legacy, you are allowed to go through the second gate. Challenge number 3, you will come up to the last and final gate, which says, how will you get there? How will you get there? So the key thing you have to understand is, if you have not built your legacy, you will not be able to reach there. Through the dark night, your legacy acts as a lighthouse and as a North Star. So the way you will get there is to use your legacy, whatever you have created on paper, where you want to be. Your life is not going to be perfect. We all have ups and downs in life. Would you agree? We all go through. What do you do when you come out of the storm? If I don't hit you around, you won't know where to go, right? Unless you have a direction and say, this is where I was headed. And that is what this does. Through all the thick and thin of your life, it will give you that one place for you to go, no matter what. Correct? So this is a very powerful thing for you to do. So living your legacy, in my book I talk about 5 things you will need to do. Okay? Einstein says, great minds are always faced with violent opposition from mediocre minds. So great spirits will always face resistance. So you will have to be able to create the higher the legacy you plan, the more resistance you will have. So one of the things I've said is know your purpose, pursue it. Winning is a habit. You have to get to that stage. There will be resistance, face it. Passion is a requirement. Show it. Sky's the limit. Reach for it. How many of you know this guy? A lot of people say, what was this famous line? Do you know? Yes. Do or do not, there is no tribe. Correct? So do or do not, there is no tribe behind this. You either plan a legacy or not. Don't try to live a legacy. It has to be there. So when you say, I know how I will live and leave a legacy, you are going to go through that third grade. So in order to pass through the 3 gates and enter the University of Shangri-La, you will have to answer these 3 questions. Who am I? Where am I going? How will I get there? I want you to write these questions down. Every day morning, I want you to ask these 3 questions to yourself. Who am I? Where am I going? And how will I get there? Because that will get you to the true north. That will create in you the urge to create a legacy. Give yourselves a big hand. Now, go live your legacy.